Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. How is everybody? Ooh, I hope you're fine. Everyone did that spring ahead thing. And for the most part, your phone takes care of it, right? Doesn't it? That's where everyone gets what time it is. That's what I think. Everybody just goes, oh, what time is it? And you look at your phone. But I do have an old alarm clock, and it's on my night table. And I woke up, I looked at that, and I thought it was the proper time. And then you look at your phone and go, there's an hour. There's an hour. Now I really feel like a bum being in bed at like 1 p.m. I guess I should feel like a bum being in bed at noon, but 1 just made it worse. But, you know, I think most people like the lighter, later thing than it getting dark in the afternoon. So, and it's sort of the gateway to summer, isn't it? And that we're all waiting for summer, aren't we? After this crazy winter, snowy winter. Anywho, welcome to the show. And right before showtime, you know, I have everything I print out for the show. Preparation, they call it. And the little thing on my printer that catches the papers that come out, it just fell off, and every bit of my show prep was all mixed up. So I got like the Iran stuff mixed in with the New York bombing stuff, mixed in with the Biden at the Jesse Jackson funeral, and just one of those things that happen. But we shall overcome. We are professionals. And I was in New York last week, and maybe you could tell by my voice, I got AIDS. I wound up getting AIDS being in New York. That's how easy and how fast it happens. I go there for a few days, and I come back hacking and have some kind of, you know, what it is. I don't even know. After COVID, do we even know what these things are anymore? You used to say, oh, I got a cold, and your nose would be stuffy and whatever. Now it's like this weird cough in the middle of your chest, and then the sore throat, but it's not quite sore. It's scratchy, and the runny nose, but it's not clogged. It's just drippy. And I don't even know what to call this. So, AIDS. It's just AIDS. Anyway, hi everybody. I hope you're doing well. Talked a little on that little first little break. Not everyone gets to hear it. Shh, New York, be quiet. But bombs. That's the big story in New York now. Bombs. You like it? Do you like having the NYPD and the FBI searching around, all the messages you get on your social media and all the stories? Hey, the NYPD is downtown. Reports of a bomb. They're uptown. Reports of a bomb. Midtown. Doesn't matter. Wherever you go. Reports of a bomb. And this happened. There was a protest over the weekend. Pro-white, anti-Muslim, whatever you want to call it. You know, you choose. That's what I recommend everyone does now. Don't just take anyone else's word for it. You pick what you want to call it. Zohran Mamdani called it a white supremacy rally or something like that. And other people call it an anti-Islamic takeover of New York protest. But, you pick and choose. It did involve bombs, though. That's always nice. And the way the news presented it, and Zohran Mamdani presented it, he didn't make any distinction between the protest, which was anti-Islam protest, and who threw the bomb. And if you read the story without knowing what it was about, you may think that the people protesting Islam were the ones that also got violent and threw a potentially very deadly bomb into the crowd of people. But it was indeed Muslims, anti-protesters, anti-Muslim protesters. It gets very confusing. And there were two gentlemen that were arrested for throwing this bomb. It was a homemade kind of a nail bomb, they call it. These are made to inflict the most damage and injury as possible. It's shrapnel. They wrap up nails and other little pieces of metal, BBs, things like that, into a pipe bomb or some other explosive. And then you put it somewhere with a timer, or you light it and throw it. And when it explodes, a lot of stuff goes into a lot of people. And that's what this type of bomb was that, thank God, did not go off. It fizzled out before it exploded. But the investigators and the bomb squad said, oh, yeah, this was definitely a deadly bomb that could have really hurt a lot of people and caused death and destruction. So Zohran Mamdani had what did he say? He had a little statement. Let's see what he said about this. Zohran says, today in response to yesterday's protest outside Gracie Mansion, Mayor Zohran Mamdani released the following statement. Yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang, I've never even heard of that guy. He wasn't in the pamphlets. Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. Now, look, I don't know anything about this guy. I do know that there are a lot of New Yorkers that are not happy with the influx of Islam in New York and the, kind of not meshing well with American customs and American civil society. So, if you're protesting that, it's racism and bigotry and whatnot. But like I said, I don't know. I don't know this guy. I don't know this man. I don't know what he does. Such hate has no place in New York. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. Unity that defines who we are. There is more racially based violence going on in New York and other Democrat-run cities that pride themselves on their diversity and unity that defines them. And meanwhile, the races despise each other. Please, with your rooted in values and of unity and blah, blah. Defines who we are. What followed was even more disturbing. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. The attempt to use explosive devices and hurt others is not only criminal, it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are. We thank the brave men and women of the NYPD who acted quickly to keep New Yorkers safe. Our officers ran toward danger without hesitation, demonstrating once again the courage and dedication it takes to protect this city every single day. My administration is closely monitoring the situation. And I remain in close contact with our police commissioner. Did you see how he said that? He goes, white supremacist Jake Lang, organize a protest, bigotry, racism, hate has no place in New York, an affront to our values, and then goes, what followed was even more disturbing. No change in who this was, not a what followed, it was even more disturbing. Two Islamic jihadists yelled Allahu Akbar and threw an explosive device at the protesters to clear it up a little. He just said what followed was even more disturbing, implying that the same people he's talking about, the bigoted racists, were the ones that threw the explosive device. This is misinformation or disinformation. If it's, misinformation, I think is more an error. Oops, I misinformed you. Disinformation seems like you do it on purpose. Let's disinform them. So I believe this is disinformation, leaving out things in order to lead you to believe the lie that is being told. And that's exactly what happened here. So Zohran Mamdani, we're on to you. We know it. I've read so many posts on social media about this, and people are on to him. They noticed that he didn't say a word about who were the ones responsible for the deadly bombs. It wasn't the bigoted, racist, hate-filled protesters. It was the Islamic jihadists, the fundamentalists, the people that have been brainwashed and follow these tenets of Islam that if somebody doesn't agree with you, you're justified to blow them up. That's what I get from the whole thing. That's how I seize it. But, perish the thought, our inclusive mayor for everyone. Everybody's mayor. Unity. All that diversity. Perish the thought he actually says who were responsible for this. He pointed out the white supremacists. He pointed out white people and bigots and racists. But then he steers clear of pointing out who the ones that were actually lighting a deadly bomb. Your people, Zoran. They're all yours. 800-848-9222 if you want to join this conversation. That's what I like to call it. Give us a call, 800-848-9222. Phones are lighting up, and we'll get to them next. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and I'm just looking at this very clear video of one of these perpetrators. Turn that off. One of these perpetrators that threw the bomb on Saturday, I believe it was. He's throwing it right at the cops. I don't see any protesters here as I watch him light this thing and throw it. Turn the volume down, jeez. He lights it. He runs toward the police, drops it in front of the cops, and then hops over the barricade. There aren't any protesters in sight. This guy is trying to kill New York City police officers. That's what I see. Plain as day. I don't see any white supremacist, racist protesters. And I guess it fell into one of those little things that they put around trees in New York, like a trees on the sidewalk. They got to put a little dirt there, so it's a little square of dirt surrounded by a little wrought iron 6 or 12-inch high ornamental gate. Yeah, and he throws it in, and it hits that, and it seems to have put the fuse out. But if that blew up, that was only going to hurt NYPD officers. He threw it right at their feet. So, and what's going to happen to this guy in a Zohran Mamdani, New York? What's going to happen in an Alvin Bragg judicial system? Letitia James, all them. What's going to happen when this poor young man of color is brought before a court and perhaps one of those feisty, big, rotund black women judges are on the bench? And like in the movie, they look down and they see potential. I know you could do better. And then the kid looks up and goes, you're right. I'm going to be a doctor. And then he becomes a doctor. That's how the movies work, right? Instead, they let him back out until, he murders somebody finally. And then they lock him up. But in the interim, they'll coddle this guy. Like they did with the Boston bombers at the marathon years ago. Remember that? They put him on the cover of the Rolling Stone like he was a rock star. And apparently Zoran Mamdani back then had posted on social media about the troubling aspect that the Boston bomber wasn't read his Miranda rights in due time before he was interrogated. So, that's who you're dealing with as the mayor of New York. Don't be bamboozled into thinking this guy is, just another all-American mayor. Doesn't matter that he's a foreigner, that he's a Muslim. He's got some ideology that doesn't jibe with traditional American values. Sorry. Just don't happen. Oh, my God. So the NYPD, let me take a look at that. The NYPD had a little statement, and this is from, like I said, all of my sheets went all over the place, but I think I found it. This is from Jessica Tisch, the New York Police Department commissioner, and she says the NYPD bomb squad has conducted a preliminary analysis of the device that was ignited and deployed at a protest yesterday and has determined that the device, it's not a hoax or a smoke bomb. It is, in fact, an improvised explosive device that could have caused serious injury or death. And like I said, he threw it right at the cops. Further analysis will be conducted, including on a second device, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi Shalom were arrested on scene yesterday and are in custody in connection with this matter. The NYPD is working on this investigation with our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the FBI through our Joint Terrorism Task Force. Yeah, terrorism. Terrorism. That's what this is. I don't understand how some people think it has to be a plane or people that have literally come from another country here for the express purpose of dealing out death and destruction. It was a pipe bomb sort of thing. It was at a protest. They want to make it seem like it's not real terrorism. Well, this is an actual terrorism. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely a terrorist act. And it was just because the device failed. That's the only reason people weren't killed and maimed in this attack. And it should be treated that way. And unfortunately, I have no faith whatsoever that these two gentlemen are going to receive the consequences that they are due. I don't see it. They'll get some attorney. Oh, they're just, kids, and they're so upset with the Islamophobia and racism. This is what their lawyer will say in court, and it will hold weight with the liberals that run the judicial system in New York. They've been bullied. All they hear all the time is Islam this and that, and they're called horrible names, and they're young people. We can't sacrifice brilliant young lives. And that's what'll happen. And they didn't kill anyone. And then they'll get their expert to say the bomb wasn't even a bomb, and they'll let them go. And they'll let them go to wrought their death and destruction elsewhere. That's what happens. This isn't something we haven't seen before. Right? Exactly. Let me see. Who do we want to? All right, maybe Susan. We'll get her while she's maybe sober. Susan, what's up?
Now I feel like pouring a double after hearing that because, you and I, we escaped New York City, but we still have our hearts there, right?
Well, not really.
And many friends and people. Well,
yes.
But what you said about this type of bomb, and I think you did mention, it was hard hearing on hold, that this is the bomb that killed 3 people at the Boston Marathon, those beauties.
Yep.
Yeah. And it killed 3 people and injured badly. I mean, this is the thing that kills me. Like all these things that happen, they talk about the people who died, but then what about the people who lost their arms or legs or brains?
Yeah. That's another thing they don't want to consider are the people that got horrifically injured that have to live the rest of their lives with these injuries. People just want to chalk up, how many people were killed. Or even sometimes no one gets killed, but people get injured and they go, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, tell that to the person without a leg.
Yeah, darling, you know what this reminds me of? Remember the first World Trade Center bombing, which was kind of, but they came back, didn't they?
Oh, they always come back. They always come back, just like you, Susan. You always come back every Sunday. I thank you. Thank you, dear. There goes dear Susan. Makes a point. Look at the first World Trade Center bombing. What happened there? Nothing was really done about it. They were just like, oh yeah, they figured it out. They were all proud of themselves for figuring out who rented the Ryder truck and the other thing and this and that. And then a few years later, kablooey. Same thing as these young extremists. They don't get unextreme. They just don't. And, people got to be on the lookout. They got to be aware. Not for the white supremacists that are protesting. You could disagree with them all you like, and you are more than welcome to do it. It's your right. If you don't want to agree with people that are very pissed that it seems like Islam is really taking over in a lot of these big cities, you don't have to say a word. But to throw bombs at people and police officers, nah. Something's got to be done about that, and it's got to be called out. And I'm tired of hearing how dangerous young white men are to this country when time and time again we're seeing who's doing the bombings and the shootings and whatnot. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It certainly is the Anthony Cumia Show, and let's go to Larry over there in the Isle of Staten. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Anthony, how are you, my man?
Good, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, but I'm very upset with the state of the city. Yep. We have a man here who couldn't run a lemonade stand. No. He's now responsible for the lives of millions of people on a daily basis and hundreds of thousands of employees. This guy is just out of it. And I'm going to give you one example that's shown out to me when I first saw it. It was the first snowstorm. He had these press conferences. I think he had about 5 of them, 6 of them. Not one member of the New York City Police Department was at that press conference. Now, who do you think is out there when the snow's coming down and you're in bed all snuggled up and toasty? The cops. They're out there, stranded motorists, 80 cases, ambulances can't get through. Who do you think's going to get through? The cops are going to get through. Yeah. So what's going on now with these? Now we're going into the age of bomb throwing. This is something new and inventive in New York City. This is going to get worse. And I pray for my cops. I pray for the people of the city, innocent people. This guy is going to go. You know what they said? The old saying they said, you get what you pay for. You voted for him? You got him.
You want
him free? Good, you got him.
Unfortunately, Larry, there's a bunch of people that are loving that they voted for him and that he won. And, that just shows how far New York has fallen. And that's a great point about the NYPD not being there at a lot of his press conferences that are involved, that the police are involved directly in what he's talking about. He has such a disdain for the police, any police. And the fact that he is in charge of the largest police force in the country and in many places in the world is insane. It's a bad joke perpetrated on the people and those officers on the NYPD. It's just terrible.
Yeah,
Larry.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's scary what we have.
I know. Believe me, I was in New York last week walking around, and I got to tell you, head on a swivel doesn't even come close to what you do when you walk down those sidewalks.
I know. So go listen when you come back in, brother. Just pay attention to what you're doing. Stay focused.
Always.
Enjoy
Always,
yourself
Larry.
and do what you got to do, my brother.
Thank you, my friend. Be well. There goes Larry, Staten Island. Yeah, it's just this a bad vibe, I'm not one for vibes. I'm not a hippie or anything like that. But you just don't have a feeling of safety. I'm not saying that every second you're walking around you feel like you're in danger, because that's not honest either. But you feel like you better at least look around you and be cognizant of your surroundings before you venture off somewhere. If you're going from a bar to the corner pizza place, you come out of the bar and you look. You look left and right and around, and you see who's coming up the sidewalk, who's going to be behind you if you turn and start walking up the street. These are things that you should not have to do. On such a, it's on a basis. It's every time you leave a building in New York or every time you get out of your car, you have to scan the area. All right, I'm walking over there. I got to make sure. And believe me, it's profiling. It's profiling. You go with your gut. You go with what you know. And you look around and you go, yeah, that guy doesn't look like someone I want behind me while I'm walking down the sidewalk. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for them to pass by, and then I'll get out. And I'll continue my walk. And it just shouldn't have to be like that. And unfortunately, there does not seem to be anything on the horizon that will stop us from having to do that. Rosie, I can't go a couple of weeks at least without Rosie O'Donnell on this show. She's so smart and brave. She moved over there to Ireland. She came back to visit recently. And all she seems to do is talk about Donald Trump and how horrible he is, worst president ever. He's dangerous, deadly. The way I just talked about New York City, that's how she feels about Trump. Oh, if he came out, I would stop and have him walk in front of me. I think he might try to kill me or something. So Rosie was on another interview show. I don't know. I don't care. And she's talking about Trump and part of the Save America Act, which is that men should not be able to compete against women. It's such a simple thing. It's pure science. It's biology. It's anatomy. It's just every answer is right there in a science book as to why men should not compete against women. I mean, try proving science wrong. They do. They try. They fail miserably. We all know that men are built differently than women, and it gives them a physical advantage in many, many sports. So when you put a transgender woman, a man, into a sport against women, they have an unbelievable advantage. And it shows. How many competitions have these transgender women, men, won? And they set new records. Yeah, because it's a man. And everyone wants to make it sound like it's no big deal. There are people that'll tell you what a small percentage of transgender men are in women's sports. Oh, that's good. What about the dreams of a young woman athlete that is taken away from her because now a man has done better than her? And she now does not get to go to the state or the nationals or the Olympics because a guy went in there and using an unfair advantage beat her, something she trained for her whole life, had the backing of her family, trained, missed out on so many things during their childhood and teen years because they were dedicated to this sport. And some guy a couple of years earlier maybe decides, yeah, I'm going to be a woman now and I'm going to get into track and field or swimming or whatever. And now this person jumps into it and destroys. And now that girl that worked very hard to pursue her dreams is left to the wayside. But it's okay. It's only, a small percentage. Tell that girl, tell her family, just a small percentage of men competing against women. So Rosie was talking about Trump and the SAVE Act and the fact that Trump doesn't want men in women's sports. And, of course, her take is retarded. Let's listen. Oh, I guess.
Listen, more women have accused him of sex and rape than there are trans athletes in America. And he's focusing on trans athletes. Yeah. He wants to protect children. This is what he says. He's all about family and children. Look what he did to children on that island.
What?
Katie Johnson, everyone. Google it. Yeah. Real human being. Threatened. Real human being. They don't play around. This is like the upper echelon of the upper echelon. And it's very, very scary.
The upper echelon of the upper echelon are your Hollywood friends, Rosie. Not Donald Trump. Accusations? Yeah, I bet. I bet more women have made accusations against Trump on the Epstein hotline that was set up after he was president. Yeah, vindictive, hateful people that want to take down Donald Trump. None of these allegations have come to fruition. None of them have turned into convictions or even accusations that can be followed up on. These are people that left voicemails on an FBI task force answering machine for Epstein. They've made statements through friends who then go, oh, a friend of mine said this happened to her, but she's not willing to come forward. Not one of these allegations can be backed up. And there's a reason for that. People have done everything to try to take Trump down, even shot him. So to try to compare the number of trans athletes, is that what she was doing? The number of transgender athletes in this country to the number of false allegations against Donald Trump for rape and child molestation. The proof that this never happened is that the Democrats tried everything, including shooting him, to try to prevent him from getting another term in the White House. If there was all this evidence of him doing these things, that would be the thing that would take Donald Trump down, even with MAGA and the Republicans. Irrefutable proof that he did something. When Trump said I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and they'd still support me, yeah, depending on who he shot and the circumstance and the context, yeah. But there's no coming back from allegations of molestation of children if they were indeed true. So in 4 years, in the 4 years between Trump presidencies, They couldn't find one allegation that they could actually get a witness, get a victim, irrefutable proof that this was done. No one, with the power of the White House behind them. All the Epstein files at their fingertips during the entire Biden administration, and not one allegation could be brought with any confidence. But, Rosie, there are men, and they are beating women in women's sports. That's irrefutable. That's not fantasy. That isn't made up. Men are stealing the dreams and the financial outcome for these women that might have gotten sponsorships and sports deals. Who knows? Talk shows, movies, sportscasting, all that stuff thrown away because some man decided on a whim he wanted to put on a wig and a skirt and run against girls because he couldn't compete against men. That's true, Rosie. That really happens. And I don't care how minuscule you think the numbers are. The women that have been knocked out of contention don't look at the percentage of trans men. They look at the one that's far in front of them on a track or in a pool or on a bike or in a boxing ring or wherever. They don't care how many they are. They see one. They see one man ass running faster than them in front of them. And it takes away from their dreams and aspirations as athletes. So screw off, Rosie O'Donnell. But she, she'll never go again. She's another one with a trans kid and this and that. All of Hollywood with their trans kids and their, look how wonderful I am. Did she visit her adopted daughter when she came here to the United States? Not the one she took to Ireland. The one that ended up in jail on drug charges. The one everyone feels bad for. These Hollywood types, they adopt these kids, and then what do? When the second there's any type of trouble in paradise where they have to do something called parenting, they just don't do it. They don't want to do that. Why would they want to? I just want something to parade around on the red carpets and at appearances and movie premieres. I just want something that I could point at and go, look what I adopted. Look what I adopted. Isn't this great? And then the second something goes south, they don't know how to deal with it. Look at that Rob Reiner situation. What a banner parent that guy must have been. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like a fun guy to be around, or didn't seem like. And, you raise a kooky kid and you don't know what to do with it. Because, again, also another thing, they don't want to seem like they raised bad kids. That's not a good thing. That's not a good look, to have people mumbling behind your back that you might have been a bad parent. And then the other thing they did, of course, after the adoption stuff, they decide to have their kid turn trans. That's another thing they do. Oh, yeah. Now I have a trans kid. They adopted the black African kids, and then now they're on to having kids that are trans to show how unbelievably tolerant and awesome they are. It's the worst group of people, the Hollywood people, but there's Rosie talking about what the power that these people have and the Epstein thing and the children and the island. There is no evidence that Trump ever went to the Epstein Island. Meanwhile, you have testimony that was recorded just a week, this past week, of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. And Bill is talking about various photographs, girls that he got massages from while he was in the company of Epstein. And these were girls that were Epstein's girls. And he's in a pool. He's in a jacuzzi in his little shorts. Those are real. Those aren't photoshopped. Those are real pictures of Bill Clinton. How do you, why hasn't Rosie mentioned that? Why hasn't Rosie brought up the Clintons? Yeah. Not one photo of Donald Trump with Epstein aside from at certain celebrity events. Epstein was a socialite. He was just as big as these celebrities that he was in the same room with. Trump, actors and actresses, politicians. He was in there taking pictures with them. So a picture alone with Epstein isn't that big a deal. But you're in a jacuzzi and a pool with his girls getting massages on his plane. But Trump is the guy that people like Rosie O'Donnell want to go after. It just shows you how they lie, the hypocrisy, double standards. And it's all, with Rosie, I think it's beyond an agenda. I think she's just bat crap crazy. He broke her. He just snapped her like a twig. And she doesn't know what to do about it. She'll often talk about how her therapist tells her, hey, don't dwell on him so much. She's incapable. She has to. It's crazy. All right. The View girls did talk about the Clintons during their Epstein testimony, and we'll pop that on when we return in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and just scrolling through X during the break, and I see Chuck Schumer is warning that the Save America Act, if it passes, that's, voter ID is the bulk of the Save America Act. There's transgender stuff in there, too, like not mutilating kids and no men in women's sports. But the voter ID, proving you are a citizen of this country, is a big part of the Save America Act. And Chuck Schumer says if the Save America Act passes, it would remove 20 million people from the voter rolls. Coincidentally, isn't that how many illegals we assume are in this country? The low number, by the way. Maybe just what was brought in under the Biden administration. But, how about that? I got to tell you, I'm not, I don't feel that that's a bad thing. 20 million people removed from voter rolls. I honestly think that's probably a good number. Chucky. Oh, Chuck Schumer. Let's see. According to, let me see, both Islamic jihadist New York City bombing suspects' parents are migrants from the Middle East and became naturalized citizens. How about that? Amir Balat's parents are from Turkey and became citizens in 2017 under Trump. And Ibrahim Mayumi's Kayumi parents came from Afghanistan and were naturalized between 2004 and 2009. So if it isn't them, it's their offspring, The parents have a lot of influence over these kids, and if they're putting that crap in their heads, that anti-American, pro-Islamic jihad stuff in their heads, they're hanging out with similar ilk, it don't bode well It really doesn't. All right, here are the View, the gals of the View. And they want to talk about, and they've been talking about the Epstein files and the fact that Donald Trump is mentioned 30,000 times, and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar were mentioned in the Epstein files. But that's fine because they didn't do anything. But Trump, well, he didn't do anything either. Well, it doesn't matter. So the View, they were talking about Hillary and how she was being harassed by the interrogators when she was being recorded for her testimony on the Epstein files and what she knew and didn't know and all that. So let's take a listen to this.
Yesterday, the House Oversight Committee released hours of video testimony from former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, where they were asked about their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, including the moment when Congresswoman Lauren Boebert released a photo in the middle of the proceedings. Take a look.
Yeah. There are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room.
If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
Now until I come home.
Oh, for heaven's sake. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
so
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have a conversation
for now.
In 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people. I can't believe you're even referencing it.
Now that you know that Jeffrey Epstein recruited girls as masseuses, does that reframe that photograph and knowing that there were girls on the plane that were being abused?
She wants to know if I feel bad about it, yes.
One of the witnesses who testified in the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young.
That's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage, I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Oh.
Yes.
Oops.
The View girls even.
That was a shot. That was from Lauren Boebert.
Yeah. I say, say what you want about the Clintons. Have any of the women or has anything in those emails pointed to them as being guilty or having anything to do other than...
Well, he's in the bathtub.
knowing.
He's in a hot tub with one.
Bathtub's different. Hot tub.
Yeah.
In the hot tub. And he took several flights on Epstein's plane.
Yes, but my
my
question is, has he been accused by any of the accusers?
I don't think
so.
No,
not any more or less than Trump.
But has she?
That
we're
has
talking
not,
about the
no, we're talking
Epstein
about the
file.
Epstein.
I know, but she's talking about his girl.
I'm talking about
Epstein.
from the Epstein.
Yeah,
file.
just
Have
Epstein.
any of the women
I don't think so.
come out and said, this is what Bill Clinton did?
I don't know.
So what were they looking, because they had access, what I don't understand is they had access to all the information.
Yes.
So they were asking questions in order to...
I think it was clearly partisan. I think, you had someone like Les Wexner who testified before the House Oversight Committee.
There. Yeah, what are they arguing? That no women have made any allegations that Bill Clinton had some type of contact with them through Epstein? Is that, because that isn't true. There have been allegations, but again, like Trump, none of it could be backed up. There isn't anybody out there that has evidence that Bill Clinton did anything. There's no smoking gun, but there isn't for Trump either. So I don't know, obviously they're biased and they're liars and they're hens. Okay, people, back in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and we got a guest. Yes, we do. We have a guest this evening from New Jersey. He's Alan Levy. This guy, this is an example of the microcosm. It's kind of a microcosm, a Jersey microcosm of what happens on social media when you disagree with the political opinions of the powers that be. Alan, how are you, sir?
Anthony Cumia, I am honored to be on your show. I've been a big fan of yours for the early days of O&A, back when Spaz was one of your interns.
The old WNEW Rock of New York days.
Those were some great shows.
Yes, a lot of fun back then, boy. And, never could have imagined a New York like we see these days. It's quite disturbing in many ways, Alan.
Well, unfortunately, I'm here to talk about New Jersey and
I know.
The way, unfortunately, the political machine tries to deal with free speech. And,
let me fill people in, because this is what happened, by the way, in 2020. This is what happened after between 2016 and 2020 when Trump was elected, and we saw just the execution of right-wing people off of social media, especially
including you.
Platforms like Twitter. Yep, I was gone for quite some time.
I was a follower of yours all that time.
Oh, thank you, Alan. My goodness. And you were on a Facebook group, you and your wife. Your wife happens to be a Democrat. I don't know.
We are a mixed marriage.
I don't know how you pull that off, Alan, because my God. But she's a Democrat, and you two were on a Facebook group that dealt with very local Rahway, New Jersey politics.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Correct. Rahway is a city in central Jersey. Yes, Central Jersey exists. We're about 15 minutes south of Newark Airport, so we're right there. There's about 30,000 residents in Rahway. It is a very blue city. We have 9 council people. All 9 are Democrats, probably about 75% registered Democrats. Maybe, if we're lucky, we have 10, 15% registered Republicans in the city. Geez. But in any event, I am a registered Republican. I'm a elected member of the Union County, New Jersey Republican Committee. My wife is a staunch Democrat. Her mother was a delegate in the 1972 Democratic National Convention. But she, let's just say, she is a little disenfranchised of the Rahway Democratic political machine.
I can only imagine. Can I ask you something? Do you two go out and vote, or do you just say, screw it, we'll cancel each other out, let's just watch TV?
We negotiate. We negotiate who we're voting for.
Oh, okay. So, you being a lawyer, is she a lawyer also?
She is not. She has a film production background.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking you might get an upper hand there trying to.
You would think you're wrong. You're wrong about that.
Okay. And most people in the proper demographic, my age, probably remember Rahway as the prison that was used in the Scared Straight, the first Scared Straight TV show where they took kids to Rahway prison and exposed them to the horrors of prison life to try to straighten them out.
I remember you doing a bit about that documentary. It was, and technically Rahway, the prison is not in Rahway, it's in Island or Colonia.
Right.
But if you mail their P.O. box, it's in Rahway.
It's like football teams, like the Bears. They're moving to whatever. They're not going to
the
be
New
Chicago
Jersey
anymore,
Giants and Jets.
New Jersey Giants, all that stuff. So you're in this Facebook group, and I read that the moderators are all Democrats and involved in local politics.
Actually, no. There's 3 of them. There's one of them happens to be the chairman of the Rahway Democratic Campaign Committee.
Oh, okay.
And
the other 2 are just civilians, I guess.
Civilians. But for some reason, he was the one who decided that. And, my wife actually primaried one of the city council candidates in 2024.
Oh, see?
She got 31% of the vote. I love you, Lisa. I'm so proud of you. And it's hard to get that many votes against a political machine candidate. And she did that. And, at one point she was suspended from the group. All she did was post from the Secretary of State that New Jersey changed their ballot form. There was a whole dispute over the ballot line and primaries. And she posted this to the page.
So this is an
and they
opinion, though.
Suspended her.
She didn't feel like that was a
She
good
didn't
thing.
even give her opinion on it. She just said, hey, there's an election coming up in a month. Here's going to be the new ballot. See this report about it. And, they didn't toss her off then, but they suspended her until after the primary election. And then finally in a few weeks before the general election in 2024, they just threw us both off, banned us, blocked us from, couldn't even see it. No explanation. Why? Nothing. And, what we did was New Jersey is what's called a pruner doctrine. And by the way, this page has 20,000 members on it, and they have rules in terms of, what things you can say.
Terms of service,
yeah,
things like
and,
that, right.
And when you're talking about, look, don't post spam, don't post adult-themed content.
And you weren't doing that.
No, of course not. And look, if you're political, you're trying to change people's minds. Mm-hmm. So you're not trying to post all profanity and anything like that. You're just simply saying, hey, we disagree with this political opinion, and here's why.
Well, that's all it takes, Alan. A lot
know.
of times when you look at, I know some people, Republicans, people on the right, have done this in the past, but it is the vast majority of cases like this. Democrats do not want your point of view, if it differs from them, to be put out in public. I've seen this too many times. And on a larger scale, like I said, a little bigger than Rahway, the United States of America and the
30 years ago, it was reversed. It was the right who didn't want anti-religious.
Right.
Lenny Bruce was a notorious guy who literally faced criminal charges for a stand-up routine. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
But today, the anti-free speech zealots are generally, I say, from the left.
Yeah.
My wife might agree or disagree. I don't know. But in this case, it was because we opposed the Democratic machine. And let me just get a few quick details out. Because this group also holds itself out as the public square for Rahway. Come, talk about the issues, whether it's parking, pizza, or the schools. And when we were censored, when we were kicked off, what happened was, in New Jersey is what's called a pruner doctrine. And I don't want to get into the deep of the law, but just to understand that this doctrine, because the First Amendment says that it doesn't apply generally to privately owned venues. Yeah. However, there was a case in 1980, the U.S. Supreme Court in Prunard versus Robbins, that held that a state constitution could provide more rights than the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. And New Jersey's one of those states. And what it means is if you have a privately held or a privately owned venue, but you hold it out as a public square, you can't engage in viewpoint discrimination. We're talking about like malls.
Wow, Jersey has that?
Yes.
That seems not very Jersey.
Well, so for example, homeowners associations. You couldn't get more private entity. You have some homeowners associations where if somebody wanted to run against the incumbents for the homeowners board, they would say, oh, well, we have a rule you can't knock on anyone's door. Mm-hmm. But you can, well, we're on the homeowners board. I'm like, well, wait a second. You're telling me I can't even knock on a door to even run against you?
Yeah.
And the court said, you know what? You can't do that. That violates the state constitution. So we filed suit. And we didn't seek any damages against these admins. And what happened was
what did you want done?
All we wanted was called a declaratory judgment that said that their decision was unconstitutional.
All right.
And an order compelling us to be reinstated. No money
Seems
damages.
Reasonable enough. No money. No BS of I suffered damages. And
that's when things went off the rail. Because the chairman of the Democratic Party, he used the same law firm that represents the city of Rahway, who is paid for or hired by the Democratic political machine
That
of Rahway.
seems a bit of a conflict.
A little bit of a conflict of interest. So they filed a motion to dismiss, and they lost. The judge held, no, they've alleged that this guy moderated selectively based on viewpoint discrimination. I'm like, okay, great. That's a great victory for us. Meanwhile, the other two admins at that point, because they didn't want a default entered against them, reached out to me, and we settled the case, Anthony. They agreed. Oh, yeah, Tom had no right to kick you off. You didn't violate any rules. We'll reinstate you. I'm like, great. And this was February of last year.
So that sounds like everything worked out fine and dandy.
You would think that's the end of the story.
Sure.
A few days later, I get a call or an email from Tom's attorney. We represent these other two people now. Wait a second. You represent the town, you represent the chairman, and now you represent these other two? What about the settlement? Well, I don't have to ask them about it. Like, what? You don't have to talk to your own client about the settlement agreement that they agreed to.
Yeah, it was all agreed to. Why wouldn't the lawyer?
Because the machine didn't want us back on. They didn't want to allow the chairman to not have the right to kick off whoever he wanted. And so we filed a motion, like you said, sounds like a conflict of interest. Now we have multiple conflicts of interest. We filed a motion with the court saying, hey, there are these numerous conflicts of interest. They should be disqualified.
Yeah.
And, of course, the judge, and it's a high burden, we lost that motion. That's fine. Now, you would think, okay, maybe they could have sought sanctions against us for a frivolous motion. They didn't do that. You know what they did, Anthony? They filed a counter lawsuit against us under a claim called malicious abuse of process, which is a 7th century English common law concept where if you use a filing for what's called a perversion of justice.
Well, this doesn't seem to qualify as such. Alan, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to continue and see where the hell this leaves off. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and we are speaking with Alan Levy. He's from Rahway, New Jersey, and he's involved in, a litigation nightmare, a Facebook group that booted him and his wife out for pretty much just exercising their First Amendment.
Well, we disagreed. We expressed disagreement.
Disagreed with people that don't like to be disagreed with.
But here's where it went off the rails.
All right.
Because this law firm, Renown Coughlin Michello. Coughlin happens to be the Speaker of the New Jersey Assembly. Boy, did we offend some really powerful people. And so they filed this, malicious abuse of process counterclaim. They're seeking damages against my wife and I, literally in their counterclaim, because we're critics of the city government of Rahway. Critics of the mayor.
That sounds like somebody that would file that would go to court constantly and just keep filing cases against people that they have nothing to do with, or they like abusing the system.
Yeah, and by the way, there are rules that if I filed a frivolous lawsuit or a frivolous motion, the judge has the power to sanction. The bar examiner, they could suspend me. They could issue discipline. That's not what they asked for. What they wanted is to file a lawsuit against my wife and I so that they could sit me down for a deposition and ask me, my litigation strategy of why I filed this motion, which is outrageous.
Yeah, this seems to have gotten way out of hand.
Way out of hand. But this is the bullying tactics that these guys do. They didn't achieve political power by being nice to people.
Right.
Or acting in the most upstanding and ethical manner. So we fought, but fortunately, and here's where we fought back a little bit. New Jersey has enacted what's called an anti-slap statute. I think you've had lawyers on and people who've discussed this. And what it says is if somebody files a lawsuit against you and based on your free speech, and you can get it dismissed, Well, if it was based on your free speech activities, you can get your attorney's fees paid for.
Okay.
So that's a way that we can prevent people from filing nonsensical counterclaims.
Right.
Like
There's
this.
a payback if you're not
Exactly.
confident in your
Right.
your case. You
So-
know, you might not want to go through with it.
So New Jersey has this statute. It's brand new, only enacted about 2 or 3 years ago. So we filed it. And I retained, just to give a little plug to my man, Mark Randazza from Randazza Legal Group. I retained him as my co-counsel because, hey, I'm not going up against the General Assembly Speaker of New Jersey by myself. This is the most powerful political law firm in the state of New Jersey. I need a little bit of help here. And so we filed an anti-SLAPP motion, and of course the judge denied it. You can look on the website of the firm's website of why the judge denied it. I don't want to get into it, but let's just say it is a less than stellar legal decision. And I'm not just saying that for myself, because, I'm just a guy who got kicked off a Facebook group. So
Do you think there's an ulterior motive on the part of the judge in a case like this?
I'm not even going to get into that.
In this specific, okay, I see.
Doesn't matter. The judge has since retired, and we filed our immediate appeal. And right now we're in front of the appellate division, and we've just briefed it. And just 5 days ago, the ACLU of New Jersey joined our case as an amicus party, a friend of the court party, on our behalf. So we actually have the ACLU literally filing a brief on our behalf in support of our position.
How far are you willing to take this, Alan?
You know what?
the big one?
Look, if this is a state court claim, so it would, if anything, it would go up to the state of New Jersey. Right now, we're in the second highest appellate court in New Jersey.
Yeah, but I mean, it could go to the Jersey Supreme Court.
Yeah, it could very easily do that. And you know what? In terms of the Constitution and free speech, you know what? We're already in for a pound, in for a dollar, so to speak.
Yeah,
we got to finish this. And
does Facebook have any part in this at all? Because a lot of these social media platforms, especially places like YouTube, where there's a terms of service, and you just have no recourse whatsoever. They want you gone, you're gone, and you don't come back. How involved, if any, is Facebook in this?
It's not involved in this at all, and here's the reason I say why they're not involved in. It's sort of like if you're kicked out of a mall. Like as I said, if a mall is a privately owned entity, but what they can't do is say, "Oh, you're handing out literature petitions for Democrats." No, we only let in Republicans.
Oh, okay.
You can't say, "Oh, you're pro-life." We only let in pro-choice. That's the whole point of that prune your doctrine, that you can't engage in viewpoint discrimination.
But you could boot everyone out for any viewpoint.
One could argue that, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Then you'd probably get less customers.
Maybe.
I can't even, ask people to sign a petition, for a charity or something.
They're annoying anyway. Just want to shop, be left alone.
So again, why I don't think Facebook is involved, because it's sort of like there's the owner of the mall, some LLC, but then there's the manager of the mall. You would generally sue the manager of the mall for how they're engaging in viewpoint discrimination. So in this case, it's not my belief that one admin who is the one who made this decision, the one who violated our constitutional rights, and now is using the same law firm that represents the city, who makes money from my tax dollars to violate my civil liberties.
Yeah.
What a racket.
Yeah, that amazes me that they threw out the conflict of interest case.
Well, one of the things they didn't, because we tried to settle with the other two again, even after, and so we sent them a formal settlement offer. We'll let you out for free. You don't have to worry about anti-SLAPP, nothing. And we can ask the attorney, please confirm you actually forwarded this settlement agreement or settlement offer to them. They never confirmed they even forwarded it to them. So we're wondering, because I feel terrible for the other, I kind of feel terrible for the other two admins, But, you know.
Why would they even be dragged into this?
Well, I think it was their lawyers, I think, are throwing them under the bus.
Yeah.
Because they just don't want us back on. Whereas
Let me just ask you this, Alan. What is your motivation for this? Is it, I want to prove that our rights are our rights and I will defend them? Is this a hobby? Do you find it fun? Is it costing you money? What's your motivation to continue this?
You know what? I'll be the first to admit, probably I was motivated by a little personal animus at the beginning.
Right. Sure.
A little bit. I'm not going to deny that. However, once I saw how the law works, and another interesting thing is all the case law in New Jersey about the Prunier Doctrine dealt with things like malls, dealt with private colleges, homeowners associations, what I like to call brick and mortar venues.
Yeah.
One thing I never saw, and the reason Prunier went into effect was back in the old-timey days, in the Red Dead Redemption days of the old-timey days, there was a town square, and you put a soapbox down, you could get up and go off on your rant. Well, in the 1980s, the court said, you know what, the downtown public square is gone. You got to, if you want to hand out political materials or get petitioning, you got to go where the people are. And where are the people? Mm-hmm. They were at the malls. Okay. Well, where are the people today? Who you want to try to convince to
social
vote?
Media.
They're on social media. So a Facebook group like Rawway Community Voice that holds itself out as the public square, if you want to communicate with Rawway residents, Rawway voters, well, you go where the people are. And they hold themselves out as that. And I'm not trying to be unfair to people. People think,
I get you.
Oh, you're trying to prevent
Alan,
people.
we got to tie it up. I'm running out of time, but good luck to you. I appreciate you coming on, and let's see what happens. I'm going to keep tabs on this.
Thank you so much, Anthony, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. No problem, Alan. Good luck.
Thank you.
Rahway, Jersey. We'll be back in a matter of moments. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. Thanks for tuning in. And let's go to the phones here for a second. Let me see if I can find my damn mouse. There it is. Here's Scott from Florida. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Ant, how are you doing tonight?
Good, man.
Good. Always a pleasure to talk to you. It's been a while since I talked to you. Interesting talk with that guy from New Jersey. That's some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, it's a small little First Amendment battle going on that's kind of indicative of a bigger issue that we have in this country. So,
yeah, and actually it leads into what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to, what's your knowledge and your opinion, what's your best educated guess on the upcoming midterm elections, the outcome?
Man, every friggin' midterm gets more and more mind-boggling to try to figure out. I guess in the old days it used to be you kind of knew, like, oh yeah, this side has momentum, or that I don't know. I hope Trump can hang on to the House and the Senate. But they cheat. They lie to the people that vote for them, and they have these illegals that are able to go to a voting booth and vote. So I don't have a good feeling about it. That's for sure. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised and we hold on. But I have no confidence that that's going to happen. What about you?
Well, I don't either, and. Like you said, they will do whatever it takes to maintain their power, the Democrats.
Yep.
But the midterms don't scare me as much as the next presidential. If the Democrats take over the House and Senate, then, okay, it's just going to be nothing's going to get done. They're going to block everything. Right. So it'll just be at a stalemate for 2 more years.
Constant
but the
veto
presidential
from Trump.
One scares me because if they get the White House, it's going to be time for us to get our pound of flesh and to get our punishment in on those damn Republicans. And that's exactly what they're going to do. It's not going to have anything to do with bettering the country or the people. It's we got slapped in the face, so it's time for us to start slapping back, and that's what it's going to end up being. And that's frightening.
The scariest part of a Democrat House, Senate, and presidency is how quickly that border would be opened again, and how many more they'd let in just because they know if a Republican gets in there, he might, as easily as Trump did, shut that border back down again. I think even they were surprised how quickly Trump was able to shut the border down.
Yeah.
But everyone that runs over that border is a voter. They see it that way. They know that they're so unpopular with the American people that they have to bring illegals in, allow them to vote. And that's the scariest notion to having the triple, the triad of Democrats.
The axis of allies of power, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really think if that would happen, I think it might be the death nail for this country. Economy, everything.
We've said that many times. I mean, after every election seems to be, this is the most important election of our life, and this is democracy dies or lives and I don't think so. I think there's still enough checks and balances in place, but I don't like the checks and balances. I think they're unbelievably un-American a lot of times, and but we'll see. We can hope for the best there, Scott. Appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, man.
Later. Yeah, I don't know. That is that's a tough one. I don't know if years ago we knew. He's got it wrapped up. Don't even sweat it. He's getting the House and the Senate again, and then you see these in the middle of the night. A bunch of ballots are brought in, and if you complain about it, you're an election denier. You're a insurrectionist, a traitor. We saw what happened in 2020, and I firmly believe. I'm not saying anything that others haven't said. I personally don't agree with the results, but it's bad to say that. It's very bad. Okay, the Jesse Jackson funeral. I would say it's hilarious, but a man died. I'm not going to. He lived a long enough good life. I think Jesse Jackson had a pretty good life, rubbing elbows with the high and mighty. So they had a memorial funeral with all the celebrities and the speeches and all that rot. And Jesse Jackson Jr. got up and was none too happy about some of the former presidents, namely Obama, Clinton, and Biden, that got up there and used that platform not to talk about Jesse Jackson and his life and his achievements, if you see them as achievements, but they got up there to slam Trump and slam the Trump administration and Iran and everything else. And I'm glad Jesse Jr. Called them out. I guess we should probably first listen to what Obama and Biden said. This is Obama, AC2, and he's just, this is a political speech. This isn't a memorial speech for Jesse Jackson. So let's listen to Obama.
Wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions.
Could you pause for a second? He's doing the black thing. Let's, when Obama gets in front of white people, he is the nerdiest Obama, just regular Obama that we saw. But you put him in front of black people at a Jesse Jackson funeral, he starts doing the, let me tell you something. You get a honey child. He's like, he turns into a ghetto Obama a little bit. Let's listen.
Set back to the idea of the rule of law. An offense to common decency every day you wake up to. to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other.
Each other.
And that some Americans count more than others.
This is bad times like now. We're in a tough spot, folks.
Oh, here's Biden.
We got an administration that doesn't share any of the values that we have. And I don't think I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now.
What's happening? She gets a little ghetto too, huh?
I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming.
Oh my God. So they all get up there and they just start, usual suspects, usual business. They start trashing Trump and it's a memorial event. What are you doing? I think they thought they were going to just win the crowd. I mean, I heard some mumbling and some yes and all rights, but not bringing the house down by being more divisive than they usually are. So then Jesse Jackson Jr. Got up, and, he wasn't happy. His father is supposed to be memorialized. You got 3 presidents there and a vice president, Kamala, and they just, what are they doing? They're politicizing the whole thing. So I could understand his anger. Let's listen to Jesse Jackson Jr.
I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson.
Whoa! Shade.
He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson was. Our message has already been delivered today. I can see it all over my mother's face. Rise, Jesse, rise. Give Jonathan Jackson another great round of applause for delivering our family message to the world.
All right, you can cut it off there. Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 presidents up there, and what do? They start being all partisan, and Jesse Jr. there is saying it's not about Republican and Democrat. It's what my father believed in, and his mission. And Jesse liked Trump, at least for a while back in the day, as they call it. He liked Trump. And, Trump employed a lot of people of color. And, Jesse understood that before he became, before Trump became a politician and had to pick a side. He was well liked in a lot of minority communities. But I found that really, Biden can barely say anything. And he's been that way for quite some time. This is great. This one is AC1. This is Biden. Just again, remember the gaffes? It was like, Joe Biden, President Biden had another gaffe today. President Biden fell off his bike while trying to chase a 7-year-old girl down the street. President Biden fell on the stairs of Air Force One. The gaffes he would have. Well, we've missed these. I'm sure he has many gaffes every day. We just don't see him anymore. But then he gets in public and he says something like this. Listen.
If I told you all earlier when I was a kid I had a cleft palate or club foot, none of you would have laughed. But it's okay to laugh at stuttering. I'm not being critical of you, but think about it. It's the one place where people think you're stupid. Oh, really? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you. But all kidding aside.
But all kidding aside, I am smarter than most of you. Why would you say that? It's like Gavin Newsom. I'm an idiot like you. I'm just like you dummies with my horrible SAT. I can't read just like you people. And then Biden with, I'm smarter than a lot of you out there. No, I mean it. It's just stunning. It's stunning that this guy was president for 4 years, and the denial that came out of the Democrats that there was anything wrong with this guy. Nothing. Sharp as a tack. He's up and around, and he's, the interns can't keep up with him. Remember that? Oh, his young staffers and interns, they have trouble keeping up with this guy. He's so sharp and this and that. And he's like, I'm smarter than a bunch of you. What if I had a cleft palate or club foot? What year? What if I had consumption and typhus? He's bringing up these afflictions that you don't really see anymore in this country, at least. Hey, what if I had water on the brain or cleft palate? Would I? Hair lip. Old joke. Look it up. Oh, my God. I love it. There's maybe another war on the horizon, but a fun one, I think. This looks like a fun war. It's Donald Trump saying that we might have a friendly takeover of Cuba. A friendly takeover. I would like that. That sounds nice. I guess they're considering a top Justice Department prosecutor in Miami is considering criminal investigations of Cuban government officials, according to people familiar with the matter. The inquiry comes as President Trump has raised the possibility of a friendly takeover of the communist-run island. So I guess they're thinking, much like what happened in Venezuela, if you can say that the government officials in Cuba are committing crimes and it's affecting this country, like drugs, if the president of Venezuela, Maduro, was a drug kingpin, like Walter White, that you could just go in, grab him, and take him out, put him in jail, and then maybe put someone in there you like, or wait till someone gets in there and see if you like them. And that seems to be what this loose plan would be for Cuba. Cuba hasn't really been that much of a problem since the fall of the Soviet Union, and then obviously Fidel's death. So now we're kind of in this place where maybe that could be done. And what happens to the treaty that we had after the Cuban Missile Crisis? There was an agreement there that we wouldn't invade Cuba. Now, what's the definition of invade? Would flying in there and snatching out El Presidente, would that fall under an invasion? And then, there's no Soviet Union to back them up anymore. I know Russia still has a soft spot for them, but Russia's a little tied up with Ukraine right now. So maybe Cuba is ripe for the taking. What do you think? 800-848-9222. Cuba, I think economically, it could be pretty good. 90 miles from Florida. Beautiful if you updated it. It's a fixer-upper. And resorts, casinos, hotels. Watch The Godfather 2. Just watch The Godfather 2 and see what Michael Corleone and his Jewish friend, whose name I don't know why, but it slips my mind right now. Michael, we're bigger than U.S. Steel. That would be huge. And I think Trump would, imagine big Trump hotel casinos right along the coastline of Cuba. Have amusement parks, the Guantanamo experience. I'm in. I like it. I would go to Cuba for a vacation if it was all updated like the Bahamas or something. Hell yeah. Let's do it, Trump. A soft takeover, as they call it, of Cuba. All right, we will be back in moments. Don't you go anywhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Bless you for tuning in. I guess Keir Starmer, he's the head muckety-muck over there in the UK. He is a little upset at Donald Trump's words. Donald Trump's a little upset at Keir's actions, or lack thereof. During the opening salvo from America and Israel on Iran, the UK was nowhere to be found. Denied some air bases and no use of their military. And then they were called out on that. They decided to get involved now that the initial combat is over. And I believe Iran's capability to launch missiles and do some severe damage is really degraded at this point. So Keir decided he was going to send a couple of ships now. He's going to send some ships over there. Now he's going to get involved as our ally, the United Kingdom being a great ally of the United States. So Trump is thinking this is a little day late and dollar short kind of a action. So Trump said, the United Kingdom, our once great ally, maybe the greatest of them all, is finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. That's okay, Prime Minister Starmer. We don't need them any longer. But we will remember, we don't need people to join wars after we've already won. President Donald J. Trump. So Trump kind of ribbing him a little bit. Hey, thanks, but no thanks. Don't need you. We've already done the heavy lifting here. So Keir, he was not very happy with this. And AC5 is the clip, and let's listen.
I consider President Trump's remarks to be insulting and frankly appalling. And I'm not surprised they've caused such hurt.
Such hurt. I was hurt. Well, my feelings were hurt. I fell down the stairs and lost my glasses and shoes. I was very injured. He considers President Trump's remarks insulting and frankly appalling. Words? How about an ally not backing a fellow ally with something, anything? Use of air bases, use of intelligence, anything. Just pop on in at the beginning of the conflict and maybe give a hand. How about support? How about just we support the United States, our great ally in this mission? Anything. This guy did nothing, said nothing, and then he comes out and crawls out and says, yeah, maybe we'll send a ship or two now. And Trump, rightly so, says, yeah, we're good. We're good here. Don't need you. Enough of Europe. You know, I know Germany's been good. Italy's been great. That broad they got run in Italy, I love her. She's fantastic. She don't take any guff, as they say. She rolls her eyes at these leaders, like some of these G7 summits and whatnot, G5. And she's great. She's saying enough with the immigration. We're done. And Germany, while they're still letting people in, because they're part of the EU, and the EU just lets in any savages they want. It's terrible. But England, you know, the UK, they got to keep their own money. They're not on the euro. And they're pretty independent of the EU. They're like the most independent of the EU. And still, we got to catch crap from them and hear from that? No, we don't need your help. And maybe next time we won't be there to help you. Although we've already, you know, secured the area pretty well, aside from the damage they're doing by letting in immigrants from North and Sub-Saharan Africa. But good luck. Good luck with all that. He also addresses, Keir also addresses the illegal migration problem. He doesn't address it like, let's figure out how to stop it. Perish the thought they did that. He addresses it trying to let us know why. Why are so many illegal immigrants coming to Western nations? And how about this? Who cares the why? The whys and hows and who's. Who cares? How about you look at it at just it's illegal in its very name, and it's not good for your country. Not one person has been able to tell me why an influx of illegal aliens into your country is a good thing. Oh, work. They'll do jobs that shut up. Before illegal aliens, people did those jobs. Yeah. Do they want to do them now? Maybe not. I don't know, but you want money? You want money for cigarettes and beers like we did when I was a kid? You get yourself a damn job. If that job entails harvesting eggs or cauliflower or cleaning a hotel room bathroom, so be it. I think people would do those jobs if they were available, but they're not, because there's this crazy influx of illegals. So here's a Keir. Hopefully I got enough time for this, right? Oh, I might not. I might have to wait on this one. Yeah, we're coming up on the end of the hour. Let me wait on this. But he's going to let you know, and believe me, it's your fault. It's your fault that they're coming to our Western nations. And believe me, it has nothing to do with oppression or making a better life for themselves. It's to conquer. We'll be back.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, it is the Anthony Cumia Show. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate it. Scrolling like I do during the break. Scroll through X. And here's the latest on the two Islamic jihadist bombers. That's what I'll call them. The FBI conducted authorized court-ordered searches at homes in Newtown Township and Middletown Township in Bucks County, PA. That's where the parents lived. The two pro-Muslim extremists, Ibrahim Qayyumi, 19, and Emir Balat, 18, both self-radicalized in recent years and traveled to Turkey and other terror training hotspots. Is that on the brochure? I want to go to a terror training hotspot. America welcomed their parents, who by the looks of it achieved the American dream. And this is how their POS kids repay their country. That is posted by I meme, therefore I am. Clever. Get it? And the picture looks like a nice McMansion. They got a nice little McMansion there in Bucks County, PA, where they raised a couple of jihadists. Isn't that nice? That we do that as America? That we're obligated to do that for some reason? Oh, people want to come here? Oh, we have to let them. Why? Well, because. What are you, a bigot? Are you a phobe or an ist? We have to let them in. Why? Because we have to. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not so much anymore. So sick of it. Well, let's hear Keir Starmer from UK over there. Let's hear him tell us why so many illegal migrants are coming to the UK. Which clip is that? Do you got it?
I think we need to look at every aspect of illegal migration, upstream, looking at the causes, which of course are often poverty, climate change, persecution. Look at the causes.
Poverty, climate change, and persecution. When you see those giant boats full of 25 to 40-year-old men, even younger, teens, they're fighting age men. Not many women, not many kids. Is it poverty? Climate change? Did that dummy really say climate change? Do you think they're a little hot? Do you think they're feeling a little warm, so they decide to go to England and rape and pillage the UK? Climate change? It's Africa. It's hot. If you want a cooler climate, well, they picked Minnesota, at least the Somalis. So what, was it getting too cold? So they came to Minnesota? None of it makes sense, is what I'm trying to say. Keir Starmer is one of the worst leaders the UK has ever had. Even those other soy boys they've had before him, just terrible. Margaret Thatcher had more balls than this Keir Starmer guy. It's disgusting, disgraceful. I hear from so many wonderful people from the United Kingdom that watch this show, or listen to this show. They watch my internet show, and they're beside themselves. They don't know how to react. How do I respond? There's no recourse. They can't do anything but watch their once the greatest kingdom on the face of the earth. And they just watch it going down the drain. And they can't do anything about it. If they speak up about it, even on social media, a post on social media voicing their displeasure that their country is being overtaken by Africans and Muslims that do not have any respect for the customs of the Western world. You say that, you will go to jail. I mean, we got it pretty bad over here. But we're not quite there yet. They are. Imagine you post something, late night. You've been at the pub for a few hours, drinking some Guinness and some Jameson, and you go to your flat. First, you use the loo. Maybe you have to vomit in the loo. You turn on the telly to see what's happening. Is this working out, English people? And then you want to voice your opinion on what's going on. So you start mouthing off a little bit on X or other social media platforms. And then you get a knock on the door the next day. What's all this then? Open the door. What have you done? And there you go. You're being hauled off by some unarmed Bobby. Thank you. It's disgraceful. It certainly doesn't sound like a free country. And it certainly sounds like a country where your leadership is making a concerted effort to destroy everything that was once great about your formerly great nation. I feel bad. You know, England, we got over that whole Revolutionary War thing. We really did. We kicked your ass. Even the 1812 thing, you know, had a few problems. But over time, we've gotten over all that. We become good pals, sort of like brothers. And now we watch, and I got to tell you, I feel a little bad. I feel a little bad that you're going through this. Don't ask me how I feel about Canada. Canada is the younger brother that maybe a little slow. And you're like, he wants to come and hang out with me, but I can't bring him around my friends. It's just embarrassing. That's Canada. So I don't really care what happens to our friends north of the border. Don't really care. But England, you used to be great. What an amazing country. What an amazing kingdom, the UK. So you got Keir Starmer. You got your mayor of London. Just can't do enough for Islam. Do you know, I just looked at something, and look, I'm crapping on other countries here, but I just saw this also. Just 2 months into the reign of the city's Islamic Marxist ruler, Zoran Mamdani, the FDNY has installed Islamic prayer rugs in front of the 9/11 memorial plaque. There are the names of 405 first responders who died from the Islamic terrorist attack on 9/11/2001. And the New York City Fire Department just forgot. And there's a picture of what looks like FDNY headquarters, a big lobby area, and there's a giant wall-size plaque with all the names of the people, first responders that died on 9/11, and there are prayer rugs laid out in front of it. I don't know. Yeah, I have a problem with that. Sorry. I'm old school. I'm from a different time where maybe you wouldn't allow these people to intimidate and crap all over something meaningful like the tribute and memorial for the victims, first responder victims on 9/11. Just to see these prayer. What is that for? To celebrate? Why would you get down on your knees and pray in front of a plaque of people that paid with their lives for that religion? Never forget. Boy, do I remember that one back. That lasted a few years. It lasted a few years in New York City. Let's never forget this. Hold on to that feeling you had on 9/11. Remember it. Remember the horror and the sadness. The pictures of people that were run off a copy machine and hung up on every wall around Ground Zero. People of every age, and they were just hanging up. Please, if you see this person, if you hear from them, please, your mom and dad are looking for you. Remember, never forget. Remember that? Now there's prayer rugs in front of a memorial for the dead on 9/11. Disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah. Oh, my God. How long? How long do we have to do this? How long do we have to put up this facade that we think everyone is the same and we all have the same ideals and the same way we look at life and death and sympathy and empathy for other people, and a society that does care about its own and has a clear distinction between right and wrong. And how long do we have to make believe that everyone on this planet feels like that, regardless of their religion or race or anything else? We're all the same. That is the biggest load of crap. And I don't care that these rugs are put there for praying, because it's not the same praying as we do as Christians. The people that flew those planes prayed the same way before they got in there and crashed into those buildings. So I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. It's disgusting. Disgusting. All right, we will be back in a moment. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and just talking a little bit about the United Kingdom and the unbelievable invasion they have suffered over the past few years. A lot of Muslims have made their way to the UK, and it doesn't resemble the England of old. Paris doesn't resemble Paris of old. A lot of big cities in Italy, Rome, doesn't resemble the Rome of old. And I understand things aren't supposed to stay exactly the same, but if you want to preserve your culture and who you are, and if you think the way you go through life and your family and your ancestors, the way they went through life, is a way you would like to continue after you're gone in your country for your children, then you have no business signing off on this invasion that is taking place in many Western countries. And this is just another thing that I found unbelievable until I gave it 2 seconds thought, and then I completely believe it because it's England. The UK has their own Boy Scouts. They're just called the UK Scouts because, God forbid, you put boy in there. That would assume that you're assuming gender. And how dare you do that? What's a boy? What's a girl? It's just Scouts. This has undermined everything as far as the scouting goes. Yeah, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, two very different clubs that children belonged to. One was geared toward boys, the other geared toward girls, because we're different. We are different beings. Go figure that out. And now there are just the UK Scouts. And you could get a badge. You want a badge in the UK Scouts? This month, there is the Islam Awareness Month badge. Yeah. You become aware of Islam, and you will get yourself a badge. Proudly worn on your UK Scouts uniform. So what does that mean? Islamophobia Awareness Month. Our Islamophobia Awareness Month badge helps to promote understanding, respect, and inclusivity in Scouts, as well as in the wider community. Wider community? No, wider community. Fat people? It's supported by the Muslim Scout Fellowship. Who even knew there was such a thing? Now, here's a few things to earn your badge. Learn about Islam. Learn about Islam and discover what Muslims do and practice every day. Do you have to build a nail bomb? How about that? Good work, Johnny. You built an operational nail bomb. Here's your bomb badge. Find out how the values of Islam are similar to our values in Scouts. Are they, though? You could say that, but are they really? You could, learn about the 5 pillars of Islam. I need a pillar for my head. Sometimes I use 2 or 3, but 5. Visit a mosque. They want the little scouts to go to a mosque so they could look around and have an imam or a whatever come up and brainwash you, perhaps. Do a joint activity with a local predominantly Muslim scout group. So get together with a Muslim scout group. By the way, a predominantly Muslim scout group, are you allowed to have a predominantly white scout group? Or will there be Muslims and Asians and Africans and all kinds of other people in that group? And then you could take your diverse group and go to a predominantly Muslim scout group? Why do they get to have a predominantly Muslim group when I'm certain you cannot have a predominantly white scout group? Hey, how about this? Listen to the call to prayer. Do you have a choice? I hear there it's blasting everywhere of late. That's what I hear. Unbelievable. Do 2 acts of kindness. Islam promotes being caring and having compassion for others. Again, just because it's written down, just because people say it, I don't think I've ever seen this on a wide scale. Look, I'm sure there are plenty of families that are practicing Muslim, and they have neighbors, and they go to cookouts and talk to their neighbors. I get it. I'm not that crazy to think that, every Muslim is a jihadist. I'm not saying that. But I'm just not seeing this promoting caring and having compassion for others on a large scale. Take something like Christianity or Judaism. You will constantly find these groups being very charitable to other groups of people that might not even be of their same religion, and food drives, housing, clothing, blankets. You see it all the time. I don't see that type of caring and compassion coming out of large institutional Muslim entities and what do they call them? Mosques. They're very to themselves. Very to themselves. If they're doing good and having compassion, it's for their own people. And by compassion, it's probably stoning or beating someone for the crime of having been raped. I've seen it. I just saw a video of some woman being stoned to death. And the caption was that she had reported that she was sexually assaulted. How dare she? Do 2 acts of kindness. Oh, there it is. The Prophet Muhammad said, removing unarmful thing from. All right, I don't even know what they're trying to say there. But there you go. That's how you earn your Islam badge in the UK Scouts. Do they have a Christianity badge? Do they have that? I don't know. I doubt it. But maybe they do. It's just gone too far. It's gone too far. And I don't see an upside. I'm finding it very hard to see an upside to this. There were many Islamic nations. There are, the Middle East is full of Islamic nations. Africa is full of Islamic nations. that are specifically Islam. The government, everything is run, Sharia law is run with Islam as that's their model. Why do you feel you have to come to a country that has nothing to do with Islam? Its traditions are abhorrent to Islam. They don't like Western traditions. So why would you go there? And then why would the people in these Western nations take them in? There are some people, some cultures, they don't work together. And if we are to adhere to what we are and not change, it would never work out. But we're expected, us in these Western nations, white people, Christians, people in the UK and the EU and the United States, why are we expected to change so much to allow them to be more comfortable here? Why are you here in the first place? Why are we allowing you to be here in the first place? That's what should be said. Not that we have to make all these concessions so that people that don't like us can be comfortable. All right, back in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Let's talk to Steve. He's in Toronto, Canada. A little, a little upset at what I said, or do you agree?
Hey,
Steve.
no.
Hey, how you
I've
doing?
been watching the Scottish guy's YouTube videos. He moved to Russia like 5 years ago, and he's walking around Moscow. It's clean, it's beautiful, very low crime, and everybody is Caucasian. And all the women, the majority of the women are drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah,
There's no fatties, no facial tattoos, no facial piercings, no blue hair. I tell you, it looks kind of like utopia.
Yeah, I've seen some videos from people that have been over there, and they walk around. And look, obviously, not every area is going to be amazing, but it's not amazing anywhere you go. But I've seen some of the nightlife there. First of all, the Russian women, Ukrainian women, women from those former Eastern Bloc nations, they're the ones that come over here and used to be in the strip clubs. They were the strippers. They're gorgeous. And, something to be said for what's in the water over there. Maybe some Chernobyl radiation, but they're beautiful. But, the lifestyle, the way they don't take any crap. They're not taking people into their country that don't want to be Russian. There's something to be said for that, man.
Well, here's the thing. This guy married a Russian girl like 5 years ago, and he wanted to take her back to Scotland to meet his family. You're not going to believe this, Ant. The UK government wouldn't give her a visa, so he had to go by himself. So he gets off the plane, he gets in an Uber, rides to Glasgow, gets out of the car, and is instantly besieged by filthy migrants who can't speak English and are begging for money.
Oh, boy. But he can't get his beautiful Russian wife into his country. That's what's going on. There has to be a motive here. I mean, there has to be. This doesn't just organically happen. There has to be a nefarious motive on the part of people in great places of power. Because why? The why doesn't make sense. No one sees this as a good thing.
Nothing about it is good.
No.
And if you wanted me to theorize on it, I'm not a racist person at all, Anthony. I've never even known a Jewish person. So why I'm supposed to hate this race of people is beyond me. But anyways, they might have something to do with it. But so the guy goes, you know what? I'm never going back. I'm never going back to UK. I'm going to stay here in Russia for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. Live your life there in relative peace with a beautiful girl. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the motive is for this whole thing. It seems so strange that, I can't imagine that any one of these politicians that are crowing about how awesome diversity is and how we need people to come in, I don't believe that they actually believe what they're saying. So where is this coming from? What's the end game? Who wins? Who wins this whole thing when every Western nation has been destroyed because of this influx of people that just have no care for the country that they're coming to? There's got to be some end game somewhere, right? I would think. You would think. I don't know. Matt from the Bronx. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey.
I'm awfully glad it's serendipity that your last caller brought up the immigration issue and who's responsible for it. I promote it often, but again, it's a resource that if you want to dig deep into the 1965 Immigration Act,
right,
when the laws were turned upside down.
Matt.
Yeah, definitely check out the Cultural Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald. But I find it funny. Another ideology that's examined in the book is neoconservatism.
Yeah.
And the point of the book is that many of these movements, whether it's mass immigration, student radicalism, communism, all these left-wing ideologies, they were originated by Jewish intellectuals. And again, for whatever reason, they've been dominant in these political ideologies, especially mass immigration. And I find it funny that the neoconservatives that are driving the Iran war right now in the Middle East are the same neoconservatives that advocate for open borders here and want our borders undefended and want the United States and Europe and Canada and Australia and every other majority white country inundated with massive third world immigration. And again, it's the double standard that they want a majority Jewish state in Israel, but in every other white country on the face of the earth, they want open borders and multiculturalism and diversity. And no white country has a majority that has a right to be a majority in their own country. So in other words, Britain doesn't deserve to have a British majority. France does not deserve to be French. They have to be open to every country in the world. And mind you, this is only happening to majority European nations. Nowhere else is this going on.
Yeah, no one else
is not
going on. Having to accept a bunch of people that don't seem to jibe with our Western societies. That's for sure. All right, Matt. Thanks, man. I just don't know what the end game is. And how is that good for anybody that all of these former amazing countries are watered down with people that aren't amazing and aren't as innovative and aren't able to construct an infrastructure that is second to none, like science fiction level infrastructures? How is tearing all that down a good thing for anyone? I don't know. It's beyond me. However, we continue. AI, I'm a big fan of watching what AI is doing. I don't know if I'm a fan of AI, but I am a fan of watching the progression and seeing how it affects things. AI is so huge and so influential on our lives right now, and it's getting bigger and more powerful, and it's becoming entwined into everyone's lives. And is that good? Is that a good thing for everybody? I don't think so. But again, is the phone, is the not cell phone, but the iPhone smartphone of years ago. Because when we just had cell phones, it wasn't as bad. It was annoying. People would get texts all the time or phone calls at the dinner table was a bad thing. But when it was primarily a communication device, a phone, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't until the iPhone and the ability to do everything you do on your computer on a handheld device, and then that just took off. It became even more than you could ever do on your home computer on your phone. And that was not a good thing. I mean, you could talk about the good things, instant communication, anywhere you are, information at the point of your finger. But the bad things that have happened are pretty bad, pretty bad. We are so isolated as a people. We don't communicate like we used to, face, and that's been really detrimental to our society and how we deal with other people. You got to weigh it out, I guess, good and bad. And AI is kind of the same thing. It's going to start costing people their jobs. This is a given. It already has, but on a major level, on a big level. And look, I guess there used to be a lot of blacksmiths back before cars. When people rode horses and stuff, blacksmithing was probably a very lucrative gig. Once people started buying cars in great numbers and not riding horses, people talked about, oh no, this is gonna take all the blacksmiths and put them on the old unemployment line. But then you figure the blacksmiths and their kids could go on the assembly lines for the cars. So you're not losing jobs. You're making more jobs by advancing the technology. Now the people that are building the cars, there's a hell of a lot more of them than there were veterinarians and blacksmiths for the horses. But AI. Does AI give you the opportunity for jobs that are lost because of AI? Every other technology, when it advances, seems to give people the opportunity to get into a new field of work. Remember learn to code? Hey, learn to code. Yeah, your job is gone now because of computers. Learn to code. Well, now AI isn't just learn to code. It's going to do not only your job, but any job that you might get because your job was replaced by AI. Now you're just sitting there going, what do I do? There's no job available. AI is doing it all. And let's see, AI rapidly transforming the labor market, with projections suggesting it could displace 92 million roles globally by 2030, particularly in white-collar sectors. While widespread total replacement is rare, 30% of U.S. jobs are at risk of automation by 2030, and 60% of tasks modified. AI is forcing restructuring of roughly 1 in 4 jobs, emphasizing a shift toward human-AI collaboration rather than outright elimination. But that's just in the next few years. Where does this go? There are so many of these AI powerhouse warehouses being built where it's just computers running constantly, learning new things that the AI uses. Most effective roles, high exposure jobs, including data entry clerks, customer service reps. Why would you need to talk to some idiot on the phone? You could talk to AI, it will talk back to you, and it will garner its information from the 4 corners of the earth. You won't get, did you unplug it? Did you turn it on and turn it off and turn it on again? What's the weather there where you are? I'm going to have to put you on hold. Now, AI just tells you, oh, yeah, I just checked out every possible solution to this issue, and here's what I think. Let's see, administrative assistants, proofreaders. Yeah, why the hell would you need a proofreader who, by the way, sometimes they make mistakes? And basic content creators. Aw, that's a shame. Basic content creators. Automation drivers in 2025, AI was a factor in nearly 55,000 U.S. job cuts. However, layoffs are often driven by potential future automation rather than the current. Sectors that'll be impacted, media. There's a lot of media out there that AI could handle. AI video, AI audio, music. Why in the hell? And, satellite radio and other platforms that play music, they still have program directors that put together a playlist and put it out there. You don't need that. AI could tell you exactly what your station should play for maximum listenership. Absolutely. That's an easy one for AI. Telecommunications, and sectors like healthcare, education, hospitality, they're experiencing AI growth. Education, yeah. A teacher? For what? So they could put their personal ideology, their commie thoughts into your kid's head? AI could teach your kid. If you want them taught, the real basic things that they should be taught in school, math, English, history, AI could do that. And they could probably put a pretty little projection up at the front of the classroom. An AI anime girl or something. Let's see. Here's the roles that will probably remain. Things that are high emotional intelligence, complex creativity, or manual dexterity, like certain healthcare jobs, surgeons, skilled trades. If you're a woodworker who does these works of art in wood and things like that, they're less likely to be filled by AI. And, talk radio. I'm not just talking your basic news, weather, headline. Yeah, AI could do that. But, entertainment-based talk, radio or internet shows, I think those you'd have a problem replacing with AI, at least now. I've seen some examples. Their jokes really are corny, and sometimes they miss the mark on what you're trying to talk about. And then there's the basic, you want to take a phone call and call someone an a-hole. You should be able to do that as a talk show host. AI? What's it going to yell at you? Call you an idiot? Refute what you're saying? Maybe someday, but not quite yet. We're almost there. Almost there. Russ from White Plains. What's up, man?
Hi, Anthony. I wanted to ask you, because you brought up 9/11, and, when I turned 18 in 1974, if someone said to me, hey, something happened in 1925 and you might have to go to war for it, I wouldn't believe it. Right. So I just want to ask you, is it good to nurse a grievance like we've done with 9/11? I mean, French, British, American, this is not a race. It's not a religion. It's a culture. I'm a Jewish American. And I just wonder, we didn't get blasted on 9/11 because of our religion. We had troops stationed in Mecca and Medina. And, Anthony, isn't it interesting?
Oh, are you self-blaming? Are you blaming all of us, Russ? Are you blaming us for 9/11 and for everything else? And first of all, you don't hold a grudge if things change. When I look at Japan bombing Pearl Harbor, we don't hold a grudge because Japan is a completely different nation now. Its ideology is different. It's not this emperor, this infallible emperor that they follow to the death, and they've proven themselves to work well in the Western world. When has Islam done that? When have they changed enough where we look at 9/11 and what they were all about then and look now and see any difference whatsoever, Russ? I don't. I see the same fanatical murderers that I saw on 9/11. I don't trust them, and I don't want them in my communities.
Right. I know that caller Steve, that lowlife Steve of Manhattan who calls Muslims cockroaches, even though his mother is an Italian fascist refugee from Libya. That's the kind of person you sound like. And I wonder, Anthony, is it no longer an anti-Semitic trope to say Israel is forcing us into war? Is that no longer an anti-Semitic trope?
It's something that people say that they should be allowed to say, just like there should be people that say that's an anti-Israel Israel trope. Don't you understand how it works in this country, that we should be able to voice our opinions, even if they're offensive to the likes of Russ in White Plains? Go hate yourself and America and kiss more Islamic ass. You're a self-hating Jew. Jesus. Oh, Russ. All right, back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Russ, how do you look at the invasion that has gone on in Western nations by Islam over the course of decades now, and criticize or call someone a bigot, a racist bigot, for saying this isn't a good thing? I've not seen good come of this. I've seen the destruction, the dismantling of amazing nations. And you get a guy like Russ. Oh, you sound like a bigot. This, that. All right, Russ. See what happens when it just continues and continues. And see what happens when you put a menorah in your window for Hanukkah and someone throws a Koran through the window at your dumb head. Oh, my God. People, what are you thinking? Gail, Manhattan. What's up, Gail?
Hi. First, let me tell you, I love your show. I'm finding that I'm looking forward to it more and more on Sunday.
Thank you.
I mean it, and you go where no other conservative talk show host goes.
Like Captain
the
Kirk.
topics you get into, you really get into it, and I think people just they don't talk about it, or they're scared, whatever.
That's
anyway,
true. I hear you,
really,
Gail.
really
I'm
just
here
don't.
for you on Sunday. I'm here for you,
Thank
Gail.
you. And I have a few points to make. You're questioning why are they doing it in the United Kingdom, going to such extremes, giving up their country to Muslims. I think some of it is excessive, overdone, white liberal guilt. It's all about guilt over, what's the word, colonialization or colonization for supposedly all the evil the British Empire spread all over the world with all their colonies. By the way, many of the people were much better off under British rule. What has Africa achieved with all this freedom that's been given it,
More poverty, more starvation, more overpopulation, more disease, more war. Yeah.
A few other points, if I might.
Yes.
I understand now in the United Kingdom, there 80 courts are legal Sharia courts. In other words, the British have ceded 80 courts to. That's shocking. So it's legal to stone people to death,
How is it? Like, not very long ago, just relatively a short period of time ago, we would look at this and be like, there's no way that will ever happen.
Right.
So where did this white guilt that you're talking about, why did it only pop up relatively recently? And we're seeing, what happened because of that. Why hasn't this always been a thing? I mean, colonization and the British Empire, this was many years ago. Why did it take just this long and just till now to all of a sudden everyone feels bad about it?
It's accelerated. It's just out of control. And many reasons, I'm not sure. I heard that in one village or area in Britain, the Muslims have such authority now that a woman was forced to walk her dog in the street because Muslims don't approve of dogs being up on the sidewalk with other people.
They don't like dogs. That tells you something right there. If you don't like dogs,
Right.
you're not my buddy.
Right.
I can't get along with you.
No, not me at all. So anyway, I do really appreciate what you're doing and where you've taken your show. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate hearing that. Have a great rest of your week.
You too. Bye-bye now.
There she goes. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. The boss, Bruce Springsteen, the boss, he's going on tour. The No Kings tour he's doing. Remember No Kings? You didn't want Donald Trump acting like a king, so you got a bunch of geriatrics out of their retirement homes and had them hold up signs and walk around saying, no kings, no kings. And then that weekend ended, and that's it. That's how it works. Well, Bruce saw dollar signs. That's what Springsteen and his people saw. No Kings themed tour, a woke joke. Tickets, let's see. The woke Jersey billionaire is pushing the anti-President Trump No Kings agenda in his advertising campaign for the 20-date tour with the E Street Band, but is ironically charging prices fit for royalty at up to $3,000 a ticket. And this isn't like scalper prices. This is his prices for some of his like elite tickets. That is robbery. Who the hell wants to see this aging jackass criticizing the president in between every one of his old washed up songs for $3,000? And again, that's just the price now. Imagine what a scalper would sell a $3,000 ticket for. So many of his $2.2 million Instagram followers saw the hypocrisy behind the words and spoke out against Bruce's high-priced tickets. Seriously, who do you think you are? A singer in a band. Stop treating us like we don't matter. What a joke. National tour. $3,000 a ticket. So people aren't very happy. People, thank you. I'm happy. I'm happy with you people tuning in. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you back here next week. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to The Anthony Cumia Show. You can hear The Anthony Cumia Show Sunday nights at 8. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Hey, it's Anthony Cumia. Other jewelers hate Steven Singer. Why? Because Steven Singer has the best real natural diamond stud earrings in America. Everybody knows gold and diamond prices are crazy right now. Gold at the highest price in history. That means ever. Lucky for you, Steven Singer has locked in his diamond studs at the old prices. Steven has diamond studs available from a quarter carat all the way up to 10 carats total weight. All at the same perfect price as last year. Same incredible value. There's no better time to get a pair of diamond stud earrings from Steven Singer Jewelers. Yes, this can't last forever. Each pair eye flawless, near colorless, beautiful stuff. They come with his safety silicone bags, so you never have to worry about losing them. Oh, okay. And with his unbeatable full-time value lifetime trade-in, you know your diamonds are always worth what you paid. All backed by the best guarantee in the jewelry business. It's a full 100-day, 100% no-hassle money-back guarantee. Plus fast free shipping. Experience the difference at Steven Singer Jewelers. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com.